Addictions. Today we're going to be talking about addictions. Why are we going to be talking about addictions? Because people are addicted to being addicted to stuff. And Facebook is an addiction. The real reason we're going to be talking about addictions is because I got a comment saying talk about addiction, so we're going to talk about addiction. Over 1 billion people are addicted to Facebook. Not really. Okay, so like over 20 million people in the United States have some sort of addiction. So let's start with the fact that addiction, what is an addiction? Addiction is the moment where you cannot survive, yeah. You cannot live without doing something. You need to do something in order for you to keep going through your day. In other words, drinking coffee in the morning, because if you don't drink coffee in the morning, you have a massive headache, that's called an addiction. You're addicted to coffee. That's what's happening. That's why if you don't drink coffee, your body gets a headache. That's the way it's dealing with having that addiction. So you drink coffee, you don't get the headache, so you satisfy that need. So I'm sorry to inform you, you have an addiction. What do you do if you have an addiction? Well, you can go to groups that are dedicated to help you get out or deal with quitting an addiction. Let's say you're an alcoholic. Well, there are AAs, anonymous groups where you go. They're Alcoholic Anonymous. I think it was Anonymous Alcoholics. I don't know the initials. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just a drunk. We don't go to meetings. So the point of all of this is why people fear accepting they have an addiction. Because society makes it feel as though the moment you have an addiction, you're weak-willed or you're weak-minded or you're not strong enough to hold your own against an inanimate object that has control over you, be it smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol, or even coffee, but you don't go to meetings because you're addicted to coffee. So how is it that people don't look bad at people who are addicted to coffee, who need caffeine to go on, yet people look bad at alcoholics? Why? Obviously because drinking coffee doesn't do the same effects that drinking alcohol does. Or the negative effects for your body aren't the same, obviously, if you're addicted to alcohol versus being addicted to coffee, or if you're addicted to smoking. So obviously if you're addicted to something that is slowly and surely killing you, then that's a problem. And you can bring up the fact that some of the oldest people in the world who live to be the oldest in the world records, used to smoke till they were very old. Like there's this woman that lived to be like 120 something, and she smoked till she was like 114, and yet she still lived to be one of the oldest people in record. Well, it's just her. I mean, scientifically, it's proven that smoking will screw your lungs up. So obviously, if your lungs are all screwed up, obviously your lifespan won't be the same as a person that has good lungs. You can fight it, and you can be like, I don't care. Well, if you don't care, this video is not for you. If you do care, I want you to know that there are groups out there to help you. There are methods, there are things you could do to help yourself quit this addiction. Obviously, if you're interested in quitting. If you're not interested in quitting, then don't quit. That's up to you. If you have a family member who has an addiction and you want them to quit, in that case, you should be as subtle and nice to them as possible in order for you to help them quit or make them understand how you feel about their addiction. Obviously, let's say some of your parents might be addicted, or your brother is addicted, or even your children are addicted to something, then don't go up to them and be like, oh my god, you're doing this all wrong, and you're ruining this family, and you're killing us slowly. Like, don't put the blame on them, because they are just being slaves to their body and their genetics that make them addicted to something. They didn't want to be addicted to it, they just ended up being addicted to it. So that's the first thing you need to understand. People who are addicted to something, they don't choose to be addicted. I mean, there are some drugs that have the chemicals that will make you addicted to them. So obviously, if you know going into it, you might end up addicted. That's sort of on you. But if, let's say, alcohol or smoking or other things can be genetic. So that means that you might have drunk coffee one day and all of a sudden you ended up addicted. I mean, in my genes, I'm supposed to be addicted to coffee. I don't like coffee, so I don't drink coffee. But if I do drink coffee, the next few days I'll be thinking about it. Why? Because in the bloodline, it runs this addiction to coffee, so I feel it. I'm extremely susceptible to it, and I'm extremely aware about it. And due to the fact that I don't ever want to be addicted to coffee, first of all, because I don't like coffee, that means I can't drink coffee on a regular basis. I can't, because I'll want more and more and more. So, I'll have my blonde moments and go to Starbucks like once every 2 or 3 months, and that's pretty much it. I don't go again. But for the next few days after I do drink coffee, I will be thinking about it. I'll miss it, I'll want it, I'll feel it. And that is what I know, and how I know that in my genes it runs this addiction towards coffee. So if you know you have an addiction and you want help, there are groups out there to help you. Talk to a loved one. They will help you if you need the help and you say, I'm addicted to something and I need help. The first step is admitting that you have an addiction, accepting it, so that you can move forward into quitting. So then you might be thinking, oh, simple, but they should just quit and stop it immediately, because that if you're a strong mind, you can do that. Not everyone can do that. Do I know people that woke up one morning and were like, I'm never gonna smoke again? Yes, I do. I know people that do that. I have been able to do that. But if some people just can't do it. I have friends that have been heart surgery. They've had heart surgery twice, and they still keep smoking. You know, I've had friends that wake up one morning where their throats are sore and stuff, and they can't talk because they smoke a lot, and all of a sudden they're like, okay, I'm never gonna feel this way again. So they stop smoking immediately, like instantly. They never smoke again. So some people, you can say that the people that have smoked for a long time and all of a sudden quit, they might have been addicted and they might have cut it immediately. Some others, the gene might not have been so strong that they could just quit. You know, I can smoke and then I don't have to smoke again, or I could start smoking every single day and then I could quit. Why? Because it doesn't run in my genes. But if it did, it'd be extremely different. So stop. So due to that, people need to understand that, first of all, addictions is something that happens to people. They have no control over it. Okay, so don't blame them for being addicted to something. It's not their fault. Again, you might use examples where it is, sure, but the reality is it is not their fault. So don't go blaming them for their addictions. Help them. Help them. Okay? If you want to be this smart ass and be like this super benevolent person that's out there to save the world, help them. Don't judge them. Help them. Don't ask them why they started, just help them. They want to help, help them. That's what you should do. That's what good people do. Okay? So if you're a person that needs the help, contact a loved one. Ask for help. There are methods on the internet. I want to quit. There are things you can do to help you quit. Make it easier to deal with the aftermath of you quitting and your body like wanting it back, and your brain tricking you into going back into the addiction. And because your brain will betray you. Like one day it'll be like, it's just one, or oh, let's just have one drink, oh, let's just smoke one cigarette. And unfortunately, your brain will betray you. It will want to go back into that addiction, and you do not want that. So otherwise, you should really get that help so that someone on the outside can be that conscience that will stop you from going back into the addiction, because you obviously don't want to go back into the addiction. So what's the point of this video? The point of this video is for you to understand that people that have addictions, it's not their fault. Just help them, okay? Don't go around judging them. I mean, they need the help just as you might need the help to do some other stupid ass stuff, like pick that thing off that shelf because you're a small person. So the point of all of this is, people who have addictions, it's not in their control anymore. So they need help to get in control of their addictions. So freaking help them. Don't judge them, help them. Help them, okay? They might be addicted to doing other things, you know, and still, the point of this is addictions, they can't control it anymore. There's this part of their brain that they lose control of it, and their brains will betray them the same way you were like, I'm not gonna eat that M&M this morning. You freaking ate that M&M, okay? So are you gonna judge yourself because you did? Probably you will, and that's okay. But in that case, judge yourself, don't judge them, because you don't know what they're going through. Okay? Okay. That's really good. So, if you have any other questions, let's go back into what everything I've said. Don't judge them, help them, be there for them. There are methods, there are things out there that you can do to take control of your life again. Okay? So if you feel alone, just know you're not alone. Reach out for help. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like or subscribe, or leave a comment below on what you want me to talk about, or if you want me to get a different place so that the freaking truck that's always running over my office doesn't run over it again. I mean, hey, Hurricane Maria was a bitch. So whatever it is you want me to talk about, leave a comment, and see you next time. Peace.